Fall is in full session, but since it's 80 degrees outside, we're still going to be rocking our graphic tees, but fall themed. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new and you have never been here before, my name is Kendall and this is where I post all of my bookish content. So today we're going to be getting into my October TBR, which is honestly kind of tame, I feel like, for what it has been in past months. I've kind of noticed that I really tend to go overboard with TBRs, but I usually give myself some a few options to pick from between, you know, I'm really in the mood for this book, I'm really in the mood for this. So I just start putting together what books I'm in the mood for, and it ends up being this big pile, and I never get through the whole thing. But that's okay. That's okay. These are just possibilities, hopefuls for the month. But I did go a little bit less than what I normally do just because I want to give myself some breathing room for if I don't get to read this much this month. Okay, before we even start with the October TBR, I have to say thank you, because I have now hit 2K on YouTube and I literally am just baffled. Like, I never thought I would get above 1,000, and now that we've hit 2,000, I'm kind of like, what the world? Like, how? But I wanted to do something to give back to you guys, because you have given so much to me with giving me a place to talk about books and just everything that I love that has to do with books. So I wanted to do a little giveaway here on YouTube. I'm also going to reference it in my Instagram for people to come watch the videos so that they can participate. But all you have to do is comment down below what you are looking forward to reading to the most. What book are you just so excited to get to this month in October that you just are dying to read and you can't wait until you finally get to sit down and just read it? Mine personally, I think, is Black Sheep by Rachel Harrison, because I read my first Rachel Harrison book last month and loved it. But anyway, when you do that, you will automatically be entered into the giveaway. I'm going to keep a list of names, and I will do a spinning wheel, a random, you know, it's random, so it'll just spin and then pick who wins, and you will be winning a copy of The Unfortunate Side Effects of Heartbreak and Magic by Brienne Randall. I know this book is like really popping off right now. I ended up with 2 copies, so I'm very excited to be able to give one of these copies to you guys. So definitely enter in. I will be so happy to give this away to someone who wants it. So make sure to comment down below what book you are most looking forward to reading in October, and I will be picking a winner by next week. So next Friday after this, I will be picking a winner and putting it on my Instagram, and I will also be, you know, DMing and trying to get in touch with whoever wins so that I can send this book your way. Now that I'm looking at my list, I'm like, maybe I did not go as tame as I thought it was, but we're gonna go ahead and just jump right into it. So if you don't know, I do have a Patreon. It is called the Dreamy Dragon Den, because we love book dragons over here. Forget the like bookworms and book nerds, we're book dragons, okay? Okay. So anyway, I do a bi-monthly book club, and we did our first book club pick and read last month in September. So this month is our off month, but what I've decided to do is kind of just still offer a book club type thing. But basically what we're going to be doing is I picked a book out of my already chosen October TBR, and we're going to be buddy reading it and discussing it in the Discord as we read it whenever we decide to read it. So I thought that would be fun and very low-key. I don't have to have a discussion that's live, you know, or anything like that. It's been decided that our buddy read for the month of October is going to be The Bone Houses by Emily Lloyd Jones. This one gives off the perfect fall vibes, and I just am here for it. I've heard so many good things about this one. So many people say that this is such an underrated book, and I'm here and ready to find out. I've already gone over this book in, I think, multiple videos. So we're basically following these grave diggers. This is their job, to dig graves. But it happens to be that not all dead bodies stay dead. There are zombies, I guess that's what they're referring to them as. I don't really know. They're called bone houses, but they're basically zombies, these skeletons that rise, and, you know, it's a dangerous job to be a grave digger in this book. And There's also fae in this book that I have no idea how that's going to play into it, but I'm very excited for it. I did unhaul this book at one point and rehaul it just because Olivia said it was worth reading, and I just cannot wait to read this and discuss it with my patrons this month. So then I am also doing something with my Patreon this month, which is a seasonal readathon for this month. It's our fall themed readathon, and it is the Dragon Tales readathon, and this is the Earth edition. So there are going to be 3 other editions happening throughout the different seasons, and I'm very excited for it. But our first prompt is to read a book with fall vibes, and I'm going to choose Witcha Gonna Do by Avery Flynn. This is supposed to be a very like quirky but like spicy rom-com with witches, and it sounds really, really funny. All I know is that these 2 people on here are rivals. It's not an enemies to lovers story, but it's definitely a rivals to lovers story. But basically our main character, whose name is not coming to my mind right now, I literally cannot remember, Tilda, but apparently everybody calls her Tilly. So our main character Tilly, she is in a family full of witches, but she cannot use magic. Like, she just cannot figure out, she can't do it. But she ends up doing this thing where she curses her whole family on accident, which I love, and the only person that can help her is her rival, and he also happens to keep getting set up on dates with her, and you know, it's just kind of funny to me, and I love that she has red hair. So that's my biggest reason for picking this book. But I just feel like it's going to be a nice fun break from like all the horror or like mystery thriller books that I have that I'm going to be reading for the rest of the month. The next prompt is to pick a book with your favorite color on the cover, and I'm choosing The Children on the Hill by Jennifer McMahon. This has been a long time coming. I said I think that I was going to read this book in a year ago in October of last year, and I never got to it. I've read a little bit more of Jennifer McMahon now, so I know what to expect of her writing. I think this will be my 4th book that I've read by her, and I'm very excited for this one because it has Frankenstein vibes from what people have said, and I'm hoping that it does give me those vibes because I am a Frankenstein girly through and through. So we're following these 2 children whose grandmother works as a psychiatrist, and they live with their grandmother, and they are always like trying to get her attention and get her to love them more and all this stuff. But one day she brings home this little girl, and she's kind of strange. She doesn't, you know, she's not like the other kids, you know, and so they're kind of iffy about this little girl, and they also don't like that their grandmother brought home another child. It's a weird dynamic. But then they start to grow like accustomed to this girl, and they start inviting her to their monster hunting club and doing everything with her, and they just love that they have another person to add to all their activities. And then if you know about Jennifer McMahon, she tends to write in 2 different time periods. So that is taking place, I think, in the 1980s. No, 1970s, sorry. And we are following, again, another woman in 2019 named Lizzie, and she has a podcast where she hunts monsters. And so she's going back to this town where this little girl's been abducted, and apparently a monster has been seen, and she knows that there are monsters because she has a very she has a situation that hits very close to home that deals with that. So I'm so excited for this one. It says it gives you Shirley Jackson vibes and Mary Shelley vibes, and I'm hoping that that's exactly what I need this October. And the last one is to read a book by an author that you have not read before, and I'm choosing Hooky Volume 1 by Miriam Bannister-Tur. This again is just a really cute graphic novel. I love the cover of it. I think it's super cute. It says 2 twins, 1 prophecy, a whole lot of hijinks. When 12-year-olds Danny and Dorian missed the bus to magic school, they didn't expect to be declared traitors to their own kind. But thanks to a mishap with a dragon egg, a broken broom, and a high-profile prisoner, their faces are on wanted posters throughout the country. Chased by powerful families seeking the prophesied king of witches and royals searching for missing princes, the twins don't know whom to trust. Luckily, they aren't alone. With a local troublemaker, a princess, and a teacher who can see the future on their side, the twins might just clear their names, but can they heal their torn kingdom? I love a good quirky cast of characters that are kind of just thrown together, and they have to, you know, decide if they're going to trust each other, if they're going to help each other. It's just the best kind of story, and I'm here for it every step of the way. I love the artwork on this. It kind of reminds me of manga artwork in a way, and it's just kind of dark and light in different places, so I cannot wait to finally get to this one now that volume 3 is out and about. The next thing that I'm going to be participating in is Liv's Patreon readathon, which is called Trick or Read, and it's really cute. She created a whole lot of graphics, a map, a bingo board, and everything for it, and I'm super excited because it looks adorable, and she has quite a few prompts, and I'm just excited to read all the books that fit them and get into the cozy, spooky spirit. So the first prompt is to read a book with a bookish element in it, and I am going to be reading Liv's Patreon book club pick as well. It's like getting 2 for the price of 1. You know, I'm fulfilling the prompt, and I'm also getting her book club pick read. So, I'm going to be reading The Undertaking of Hart and Mercy by Megan Bannon. This one is supposed to be like a, I think, cozy fantasy romance type of book, and it has me so excited. It is a kind of bigger book, so that has me a little nervous, but the bookish element that's in this book, I think, is that they write letters to each other. And it's supposed to be like really cute and quirky, and also give you the fall vibes because we're taking, I think it has to do with undertakers and different things like that. So I feel like this one's going to be perfect for the readathon. It's just going to encompass what kind of vibes we're going for. We're following 2 of our characters. Hart is our male main character, and he is basically a marshal. He works for the police department in a way, for the town that he lives in. And then you have Mercy, who is our female main character, and I'm pretty sure she just kills people. Like, I think that's all she does. Or she just unalives them a lot. I don't really know. It just says that she's keeping this Undertaker's business in business, and I'm assuming that means that she's just, they call her Merciless Mercy, so that's saying something. But they just keep running into each other, and obviously, you know, Mercy doesn't want to run into Hart, considering he is, you know, a marshal and can get her in a lot of trouble. But then Hart just kind of has had enough. He just keeps running into Mercy, and he is driving him mad. So he starts writing these anonymous letters to a friend, and Mercy starts writing back, and they both are just kind of, you know, going back and forth with each other, and Hart does not know that it's Mercy. So I'm excited to see how this plays out and what the writing style is. I have really been getting into cozy fantasy, so I'm hoping that that is what I'm going to get from this book. The next prompt is to read a book with a vampire or a monster in it. I'm also doing a 2-for-1 with this one as well, because this is also the buddy read pick for the readathon in general. And I'm choosing My Roommate is a Vampire by Jenna Levine. I feel like everybody knows what this one is about. You have your main character, Cassie, who finds this room, and it's priced at a really good price, like unbeatable, $200 a month. And she moves in because she's desperate and she needs it. And then we have Frederick, who is the vampire who lives there, and that's his secret, is that he's a vampire. I've heard really good things about this one. I've heard that it's just really cute and cozy. Again, I'm hoping for a cozy fantasy type feel with a little bit of quirkiness in it, and I'm so excited for it. The next one I do not own yet, but it is pick a book with a witchy vibes. And I'm going to choose Unfamiliar Volume 2 by Haley Newsome. I read the first Unfamiliar this year in March, and I loved it. I really did. And Unfamiliar Volume 2 is going to be coming out, and you're just following like a bunch of different quirky characters. There's like a little witch. I think there's another witch. There's just a bunch of cuteness in here. Honestly, if you just want like a really cute story that gives off witchy vibes, I feel like Unfamiliar is the perfect graphic novel to pick up. And the last prompt is to pick a book that you are dying to read, and I am choosing Suburban Hell by Maureen Kilmer. This book has been on my radar for so long, and I have just not read it yet, but I'm dying to get to it because first off, it's a really short read. Second off, I've just heard that she does like humorous horror, and I love humorous horror. So I have a feeling that I'm gonna love this book so much and fall in love with her writing, and then I can get to more of her stuff after I've read this. It says, Amy Foster considers herself lucky. After she left the city and moved to the suburbs, she found her place quickly with neighbors Liz, Jess, and Melissa, snarking together from the outskirts of the PTA crowd. One night during their monthly wine get-together, the crew concoct a plan for a clubhouse, the She Shed, in Liz's backyard, a space for just them, no spouses or kids allowed. But the night after they christened the She Shed, things start to feel off. They didn't expect Liz's little home improvement project to release a demonic force that turns their quiet enclave into something out of a nightmare. And that's before the Homeowners Association gets wind of it. Even the calmest moms can't justify the strange burn marks, self-moving dolls, and horrible smells surrounding their possessed friend Liz. Together, Amy, Jess, and Melissa must fight the evil spirit to save Liz in the neighborhood before the suburbs go completely to hell. And it also has a blurb by Rachel Harrison, so I'm really excited for it. It kind of is giving me a grown-up, My Best Friend's Exorcism vibes, and I'm here for it. I'm so excited, you have no idea. And now we get to move into the books that I am just reading for my own pleasure, you know? So, the first 3 that I'm going to show you are going to be part of a haunted house vlog that I will be putting out in a week or so, and I'm just so excited to get to all of these. I've heard such good things literally about every single one, and I am a sucker for a good haunted house story. The first one is The Grip of It by Jack Jim, I don't even know how you say it, but this one is about a couple who is looking for a house and they move in, and you know, it's kind of like your typical haunted house story, and you know, things are starting to be weird. Things just, they're off from the get-go, because as they're touring this house, the real estate agent is saying, you know, oh, that's just the house settling, don't worry about those noises. No, you know, just no. So I'm very excited. I think it's going to get into like turning the main characters in this story, the couple, into people that they're not, and I'm interested to see, you know, how somebody else takes their twist on the classic haunted house story. The next book that I'm going to be reading is Mexican Gothic by Sylvia Moreno Garcia. I feel like everybody has heard of this one, but I have heard that it is so weird. Some people really love it, some people really hate it, and I honestly think I'm going to be in the part that loves it. Because again, I love weird. I love weird. I love a book that just blows my mind, and I end up having to do research on it to figure out, you know, what it symbolized or what actually happened. I just find it so interesting. So this one is a high contender. And the next one is the one I'm probably most excited for, and that is Just Like Home by Sarah Gailey. This one I think is technically not a horror novel. I think it's technically a thriller, if I'm not mistaken, but I have already talked about this one so many times, but I just know that it says it's perfect for fans of The Haunting of Hill House, fans of Netflix's Black Mirror, and Taylor Swift's song Nobody No Crime, and that's right up my alley. It's also been blurbed by Veronica Roth and V.E. Schwab. Come on. Like, I literally can't not read this. And I love the pink and red on the cover. It kind of is a whole vibe. But we're following Vera, and I think you learn right off the bat that Vera's father was a serial killer, and her mom is begging her to come back home. So even though Vera doesn't want to, she decides to go back home for her mother. And they also have this artist man who Vera thinks is using her mom. He lives out in the back, I think in like a shed or something, but things are disappearing from the home. There are letters being written in her father's handwriting, which she knows is impossible, and she's blaming the artist, and she doesn't know how he's doing it, but she thinks that he's doing this to her mother, and he says he's not. So something weird is definitely going down, and I'm nervous but so excited. The next book that I really want to get to is The Quiet Tenant by Clemence McCallion. I have already talked about this book again multiple times. Most of these were in my fall book haul, or other recommendation videos that I've done, but we're following not just a serial killer in this one, but we're following the women of like whose lives he has impacted. We're following a woman who he kidnapped and made act like she was a part of their family and home. We're also following his daughter and what she saw and experienced. And we're also following a woman who had a crush on him and tried to develop a relationship with him, not knowing any of this stuff was happening. I've heard that this book is so good. It does have a different way of being written. I think it has, it seems like it's written very, not formally, very prim or proper, I guess, but it just is intriguing. It literally intrigues me, and I've heard nothing but good things by the people who have picked it up. And this is the book that I told you guys I am most excited to read this month, and that is Black Sheep by Rachel Harrison. I read my first book by her last month, which was Cackle, and I really, really loved it. I thought it was amazing, and I've heard that this book is very not quite what it seems. And I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, because that's all people are saying. So I want to find out for myself what I think, you know? We're following this girl named Vesper, and she is part of this community that is basically a cult. I'm just going to say that. It's a religious cult, and she left home at 18, but she ends up coming back, so she's going to have to deal with that. She's going back because one of her cousins is getting married, and she got an invitation in the mail, and she wants to show her support to her cousin, but she feels very iffy about, you know, going back to this toxic environment. I have no idea what else is going to go down in this book, and I honestly just want to be knocked off of my feet and just shocked to my core. So you have a lot to live up to, Rachel. A lot. And the last book that I'm hoping to get to by the end of October is A Study in Drowning by Ava Reed. This one sounds so good. I didn't even realize, though, that it was blurbed by so many people that I love. Rory Power, Rachel Griffin, Aaron A. Craig have blurbed this. And, yeah. The cover's gorgeous. 2 of my friends have read it, absolutely loved it, gave it 5 stars, and I have no doubt I'm going to be doing the same. It says, Effie Sayer has always believed in fairy tales. She had no choice. Since childhood, she's been haunted by visions of the Fairy King. She's found solace only in the pages of Angarod, Emrys Mirrodin's beloved epic about a mortal girl who falls in love with the Fairy King and then destroys him. Effie's tattered copy is all that's keeping her afloat through her first term at the prestigious Lyrian Architecture College. So when Mirrodin's family announces a contest to redesign the late author's estate, Effie feels certain this is her destiny. But Hiereth Manor is an impossible task, a musty, decrepit house on the brink of crumbling into a hungry sea. And when Effie arrives, someone else has already made a temporary home there. Preston Hellery, a stodgy young literature scholar, is determined to prove Effie's favorite author is a fraud. As the 2 rival students investigate the reclusive author's legacy, piecing together clues through his letters, books, and diaries, they discover that the house's foundation isn't the only thing that can't be trusted. There are dark forces, both mortal and magical, conspiring against them, and the truth may bring them both to ruin. I am so excited about the dark mansion feel. I think it's so cool that we're getting architecture. This is Ava Reed's first young adult book, and I'm excited, first off, to even try out a book by her, but to kind of start slowly into young adult and see then what I feel about her adult books after. So those are all the books that I want to read this month. Hopefully I get to them. I feel like I said, it's a very tame stack. Compared to other TBRs that I've had. I'm just giving myself some rest for the month of October and some time to do things that I want to do, like painting pumpkins, going to an apple orchard, having a fall picnic, just all the fall things that I want to accomplish. I want to have time to do them. But like I said, don't forget to enter the giveaway down below by commenting what book you are most excited to read this month. And thank you so much again for 2,000 subscribers. I am unbelievably grateful. And I just thank you guys so much for taking the time out of your day to watch this video. And I hope to see you back in the next one.